Thank you very much for the organizers for inviting Colombia to share with you some information about what are we doing on the Colombian Run Table, right? I will give you a quick overview of the Colombian livestock subsector, a little bit of background, and after that, update of the Colombian Run Table for sustainable livestock. First of all, I want you to see colors. Green is that land that is properly used in Colombia. Yellow is the land that has been sub-used in Colombia, and red land that has been overused in Colombia. What does it mean? That there is not an efficient use of land, and more than 28% of the country is being wrongly used according to the vocation of the lands. 85.5% of landowners in my country are small owners, and their properties aren't larger than 20 hectares. And in total, those properties go up to 12.8% of the total agricultural land in Colombia. Right. There are two maps in here. The map in the left shows where livestock should be raised, and the map in the right shows where livestock is going on. So you can notice that livestock is spread all around the country. What does it mean? That we have lots of livestock wrongly placed according to the vocation of the land, and we have decided, or we have defined livestock land as soils with moderate limitations, particularly for the development of intensive or in semi-intensive crop agriculture. We have 38.8 million hectares in pastures or grasslands. Some people say 34, some others 38% of the agricultural land is dedicated to livestock. We have a population of cattle around 23 to 24 million head of cattle. Males are 26% of the population, females 56%, and calves 17%. Livestock industry employs 28% of the rural population in my country and generates 3.5% of the country GDP. The agriculture sector, dominated by cattle ranching, generates 38% of Colombian total emissions of GHG emissions. Of those emissions, 47% comes from enteric fermentation. There is a projected increase emissions for 2010-2030 that shows that we'll be increasing 1.5% using scenarios of reference and of inertial activity. Okay, there is a pledge, and the pledge comes from the National or Colombian Federation of Cattle Ranchers. The pledge has been stated in their strategic plan 2019 and was recently restated at the meeting of the multi-stakeholders platform of the Global Agenda for Sustainable Livestock. And the pledge consists of, first, to reduce the livestock occupied area from 39 million hectares to 20 million hectares. What does it mean? That they will be releasing land for other purposes. Keep in mind that those lands are perfectly suitable for agricultural and crop purposes. To increase cattle population from 24 million up to 60 million heads. What does it mean? It has to be involved a lot of intensification and in those lands. Keep in mind as well that the technological gap in Colombia is huge. So if we put a 30% increase in the technology we are using, probably we'll be able to get those goals. And finally, to implement a more intensive environment-friendly and profitable cattle ranching that would also benefit the wider community. Okay. What is going on in terms of sustainability for the cattle industry in my country? There are two main projects. The first one was, or is funded by the Global Environment and Facility, GEF, is around $7 million. That's the money they put. We are putting around $20 million as well. Its name is Colombia Mainstream Sustainable Cattle Ranching, and there you can see the aims of the project. Right. But there is another one. It's a donation of the British government. It's around $20.5 million, and it's called Silvopastoral Systems for Climate Change Mitigation and Poverty Alleviation in Colombia's livestock sector. The British government decided to engage with the existing project from GEF, but to put a lot of strength in silvopastoral systems in my country. Anyway, those projects trying to be sustainable and to have a wider replication of the approach, decided to set up a public policy committee that will be a group of people involved in the project that will recommend, from the experience of the project, will recommend to the government about policies in livestock and sustainability of the livestock industry. But the point is that there was no broad representation of different and neither multi-stakeholders in that committee. Okay. So far, the key actors of those projects have been some of the federations of cattle growers, and also the Federation of Coffee Producers, because there were involved as well biological corridors in the lands where the projects were developed. And also the ministries of Agriculture and Environment were very much involved. On the other hand, apart from those projects, the Colombian government obtained technical assistance from the German government, the GIZ, sponsored and funded a consultancy that produced a set of 3 different documents. The consultancy was on agroclimatic livestock, because government was thinking that you can manage lots of aspects of sustainability, but the climate is a main constraint sometimes to develop a proper livestock industry. Keep in mind that you cannot manage climate. You can mitigate or adapt to climate, but you cannot manage it anyway. So there come a set of 3 different documents. One was the state of the art. The second was a workshop with multi-stakeholders. And that was a particular opportunity when Eduardo Bastos and Ray Pitre went to Colombia for the first time and started linking with us and helping with us to think about a roundtable on sustainable livestock. And finally, there was a policy proposal. Okay. Having those 3 elements in mind, the Colombian Roundtable for Sustainable Livestock was launched in November 2013. And since then, it has been meeting regularly, working de facto, without formalization, in order to facilitate actions in support of a sustainable livestock in Colombia. There you have the current participants coming from government, private industry, and research agencies, national and international agencies as CDR, CIAT, and CCAFs. So there are 3 questions I want to ask in front of you on behalf of the Roundtable. What have we been doing? We have been meeting regularly in order to, first, to create trust in each other. It's very important to know all the actors, to know each other, and to understand each one's roles and interests. Third, to facilitate Colombians' mainstream sustainable cattle ranching projects. and its activities. And fourth, to support the 5th meeting of the Global Agenda for Sustainable Livestock and its multi-stakeholder platform. It was held in Cali during the 4th to the 8th of October, and as Benito rightly said, it was a good opportunity to start discussing about policies, but taking them down to earth. Right. What are we doing at the moment? We are preparing a workshop for the members, and that workshop will be supported by TNC. Benito will go to Colombia to help us in those, or to facilitate the discussions, and also we'll have technical support from GRSB. So probably we'll be able to define a draft paper that will allow us to have a vision, a mission, composition, functions, and probably a strategic plan. After that, we'll have to decide if we want to look for formalization via an administrative act, meaning a decree from the Ministry of Agriculture, or if we will keep away from the influence of the government. And third, we'll be, or I am, sharing information in both ways, presenting this information to you all, and also I have been enriched a lot with all things I have been hearing here and commenting with all of my colleagues. Finally, what are we dreaming to achieve? First of all, to help farmers in the fulfillment of their pledge. That's the first thing we would like from the Roundtable to do with farmers. Second, to be engaged and facilitate activities to support. Three main things at the moment, or three main initiatives. First of all, President Santos, our president, commit the country to recover 4 million hectares of the plan 20 by 20 in its new period of government, meaning 4 years. There is a huge opportunity for those lands that will be released from agriculture to be forested or to be used for different uses and to recover that land. Second, we are trying to set up and to develop and formulate a national appropriate mitigation action for livestock. And we are deciding after being helped by CIAT, with some of the research of CIAT, with 3 different actions. One could be the introduction of new and more adapted pastures. The other one could be the introduction of fruit crops for those lands that will be released. And the third one will be to grow forests in those lands that will be released from livestock production. Okay, and third and most important, I think that all you know that Colombia nowadays is carrying on with some peace talks. We are very hopeful that we will be able to achieve a peace process for the next years. One of the points that have been very well discussed is that about property, tenure, and production of agricultural land. And there is a huge opportunity for those lands that will be given to the farmers, given to the countrymen, to put livestock in the proper lands and to accompany with government provisions of public goods, technical assistance, and so on. So there is a huge opportunity to, in some way, put some order in our livestock industry.